Hi, welcome to another of my reviews of Tai Lopez's 67 Steps. We're all the way up to step 35 this time, more than halfway through. And this one is called, it's a twofer. You get two ideas in one here, and that's ignoring the 99 and the 1/10th rule. And it's how you must kind of take on advice. And it starts out, for this ignoring the 99, this comes from like a quote from Alan Nation. It says, the secret of life is to ignore 99 out of 100 people, but do everything one person says. And obviously, it's not just random. You're picking the right person. And often in our lives, we take little bits of advice from many different people, and we overestimate, our ability to, first of all, combine those and to judge who's giving us good advice and who's not giving us good advice. So in a certain area, find a knowledgeable person and listen to that person very closely. So, and that's not just one person in your life. Of course, that's one person in each area, just to be very clear. And it's all about filtering. It's the same goes for books. There's lots of books you could read, ignore most of them, but reread many times the ones that are important and are good and appropriate for you. And, we seem, time, energy, and, at least for me, memory are limited quantities, they're limited commodities. And often we can be frugal with our money, but very wasteful with our time by going around. And and not just wasteful, it's harmful. So don't democratize your brain and be elitist. Even in business, you have these things where you can't take on all advice. Ty's example in this was, he went into a business and they were listening to their employees for no reason, but on the other hand, people like even Jeff Bezos, who hardly listens to anybody, but he does say that, the people on the front lines are the people who have a lot of the knowledge, certainly a lot operationally. So there's a time and a place and a person. Obviously, not everybody is equal. But, yeah, don't democratize. Be elitist. So that's the ignoring the 99. And then you have the 10% rule, which is even if you are following that one person, emulating, as it were, that one person, you're only going to get to maybe 10% of what they do. Your own, it's like your imitation Gucci purse. You're only going to be 10% as good as the thing you're imitating, And so that's why you aim high. So emulate Warren Buffett, because to be 10% of Warren Buffett would be pretty awesome. And if you emulate people who are doing okay, well, how's your success going to be? Of course, maybe you'll get more than 10%. Yeah. But if you're shooting for 10%, then you can't just emulate somebody, who's making $1 million a year, or reading a business book about somebody whose business is making $1 million or $2 million a year. You have to aim higher than that. Same thing like knowledge about science. Go for Stephen Hawking. If you want physical fitness, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger at his peak. 1/10 of that or whatever. So you need to take on the best, highest, best advisors you can and hope that you get 10%. So this is why one of the things Tai talks about, how self-teaching is the worst, muddling along hoping you'll figure it out. Well, you're really in deep trouble if you do that. And I love this quote from Voltaire, actually, which is, good is the enemy of great. So you don't want just good, you want best. And cut out these questionable sources of information, like TV news and magazines. And you have to be better at controlling who's in your life, because you can't ignore. You can think, well, I'm going to hang out with these guys and they're losers, but I'll ignore what they say. You know what? You can't. It's hard to ignore something you're hearing all the time. You just can't do it. So you have to control who's inside your sphere. And that's another reason for avoiding gossip or something like that. Though, gossip sometimes right, but it doesn't really affect you. It's not like people who are obsessed with a crime that happened that has no effect on them at all, and even the cause of that has nothing to do with them. Ignore it. Who cares? And so you want the most amazing, not average people that you can find in your life. And that's one of the things you hear this over and over again with other podcasts, other people, about being around successful people. Get around successful people if you want to be a success yourself. So whittle things down. So Tai's questions, so that's pretty much it. I think it's a basic one, clear, and this is a good one. Well, they've all been pretty good ones, I think, but his questions were in each of the areas. So kind of like 8 mini questions, because on one side, who are you listening to that you should not be listening to in health, wealth, love, happiness, What productivity books are you reading by people who aren't so productive themselves? These, business models, whatever, relationship advice. Who are you listening to either in your immediate area or books? So like your family members or your friends who are giving you advice that shouldn't be. Who are those people in those areas, and who should you be listening to in those 4 areas? So those are the 8 questions. So that was it. I hope you're enjoying these. Again, I think I'm talking mostly to myself, and I hope I'm remembering these. That's the most important thing for me. According to Drucker, I'm one of these people who learns through talking. So there you go. That's why I'm talking. And remember that the accumulation of knowledge is one thing. Application of knowledge is the more important one. So anyway, if you're watching and you want to keep on watching, there'll be another one of these soon. Talk to you later.